Hey, what's up, everybody? Pastor Matt here. Yeah, I haven't done a Bible review in a while, but it is the first quarter of the year, and that means it's Crossway ESV Bible review time. So thanks for checking into my YouTube page. I'll have a link to this Bible in the description of this video if you're interested, but thank you so much for watching. We're looking today at the ESV Bible with creeds and confessions. Now, this isn't going to be for everybody if you're not from a confessional tradition, but if you are, if you're a Lutheran or if you're Reformed or if you're a Presbyterian or 1689 Baptist, man, you're going to want to get this Bible. It's really, really cool. It comes in this nice hard box. So if you want to stand it up on your shelf, it's going to be awesome for that. I had the opportunity to select which cover I wanted to get, and that included the goatskin edition, but I've got a ton of goatskin Bibles as a Bible reviewer. So I went ahead and made an unusual choice. I think I chose the hardback edition in True Tone, and I'm so glad I did because it's virtually unlike any other Bible that I have. So let's start on the outside of this bad boy and work our way in. All right, we've got the ESV with creeds and confessions on the outside, and you're going to notice the spine ribs or hubs coming up and down this hardback edition. That's beautiful. You know, at RTS Seminary in Orlando, they have an old books and Bibles room where they keep all the archives, and this is how they used to do books, man. This looks absolutely gorgeous. This looks like real leather, but it actually is their True Tone. And if you ever got one of the True Tones from Crossway way back in the early 2000s, you probably saw them kind of demolecularize as they became kind of a gray matte over, over several years. Crossway's made some major improvements when it comes to their True Tone, so I don't think that's going to happen with this True Tone overboard. But then again, this is kind of a new thing, so we'll have to see how this holds up over the years. All right, let's go ahead and open it up and have a look at the liner. Nothing much to see here, folks. In fact, it's just a paper liner, which may be a disappointment if you're used to getting a really high-end Bible. You might get a nice leather liner or a faux polymer liner, something like that. This is just paper. But then again, that is the industry standard for hardback books, and so I guess I'm not too surprised. The only thing they could have done here is some of that beautiful Oriental style paper on the inside that would have looked cool on this hardback edition. But the ribs and the hardcover is so awesome that I can't fault it for much. Let's go ahead and open up this particular edition to the Psalms and have a look at the inside. I like to take a look at the Psalms because of the poetic setting. That gives you a good indication of how the ghosting or the see-through is going to be in the paper. And this looks really good. Now, one thing I'm going to say here is that if you have the Crossway Omega, then this format is going to look really familiar to you. The Omega is one of Crossway's heirloom editions, and it also has it in the large print reference. But basically, you've got two columns, and you've got all the references over here in the bottom left corner. Bottom right corner, I should say. Looking at my screen upside down. And that puts all the references over here, and basically that allows them to increase the size of the font. So you have a very nice font size for reading here. Now, when I looked at my Omega, I thought to myself, wait, this font looks slightly larger. How can that be? If the pagination is exactly the same and both books are 9:6, how can this one be larger? Well, that's because they actually expanded it slightly, reducing the size of the margins all around the outside. So if you're a Bible note taker, this is going to have less room for writing, and even less if you turn to a more narrative section. You're going to realize that those margins are not much for taking notes. Okay, but nevertheless, an excellent reading edition. Font nice and clear. Now, let's say a word about that controversial move to go over to China for their printings. Crossway's done all kinds of stuff. They've printed Bibles in America, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and China. And I don't want to get political on this. I just want to judge this by what it is without saying anything about China or human rights practices or anything like that. Cost savings, I'm going to get out of that territory quick. I just want to say simply that this Bible is excellently well printed. It is laser sharp. Trust me on that. The paper is quality. The ghosting is minimal. So if you're worried that the paper is going to take a hit because this edition is made in China, I personally had my fears allayed when I looked at this, felt the thickness, the quality of the paper, and looked at that laser sharp printing. All of my fears just kind of disappeared in the night because it looks great. Now, one thing I'll mention about the thickness of this paper. I have an Omega, and one of the things is that this Bible is thicker. And the reason is because it's got a bunch of additional materials in the back. So that notwithstanding, I did the old quarter test, and I put a quarter up on the spine of the Bible. And I realized that these pages, although they're laid out exactly like the Heirloom Omega edition is, the paper is actually thicker here. So if you're one of those people that thin tissue paper Bibles really kind of bother you, this one has some pretty decently thick paper. And I have not written in it yet, but I think if I did, this paper is going to take to writing or underlining or highlighting fairly well. Okay, all Bible paper's thin, we know that. But some is thinner than others. And this paper, to me, looks pretty good. No political commentary about China. All right, let's move on then to the features that make this Bible special. So I'm going to open up this Bible to the back, and we're going to see that this Bible is filled with about a 1/4 inch thick of bonus material that are the creeds and the confessions. Now, I'm a Presbyterian myself. You probably know that if you follow my YouTube channel. Got a lot of theology on this channel, Reformed theology, stuff like that. So I deeply appreciate the creeds and the confessions because my tradition as a Presbyterian does hold in high esteem what the church has thought and taught and believed through the ages. And I think that's a good thing. Now, obviously, sola scriptura, the Bible alone, is infallible and inerrant, but nevertheless, there's a very helpful guidance that the church has given us as it's suffered and been persecuted and martyred and struggled through the centuries. And so the creeds and the confessions are the theological testimony of the church over the years. So what do we get in this Bible? Well, we're going to get about a dozen or so creeds and confessions, and the first 4 are going to be the Catholic lowercase c creeds that much of Christendom adheres to. So in that, we've got the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed, the Athanasian Creed, and the Chalcedonian definition of Christ. Moving on from that, we're going to get into more particular and specific territory. We've got the Augsburg Confession, which is Lutheran. We've got the Belgic Confession, which is Reformed, the Articles of Religion, which is Church of England, and the Canons of Dort, which are Dutch Reformed. We also have the Westminster Confession, which has a special place in my heart as a Presbyterian, the London Baptist Confession, the Heidelberg, which is just beautiful, and then the larger and shorter catechisms of Westminster towards the end. Now, the ordering here is a little bit weird for me. I would think that one might consider putting the Westminster catechisms right alongside the main confession. And I'm not sure why Heidelberg is separated from Dort and the Belgic Confession, because normally those are the 3 forms of unity. But that notwithstanding, when we have a look at each one of the creeds, we're going to be delighted that it has a historical introduction to said creed, followed by the text of the creed itself in nice, clear, bold, beautiful font. All right, so let's flip ahead to Westminster because that's the best. And we're going to look at, here it is, the confession itself. You can see some sample chapters here. Chapter 3 of God's eternal decree, chapter 4 of creation. Basically, you have a nice, very readable text filled with tons of Bible references. And that's what are so valuable about the confessions to me, is to see how the church through the ages understood the scriptures themselves as reference guides and helps to interpreting the Bible. Okay, so I'm very pleased with this edition. Some people are kind of tweaked because China's moving back, Crossway's moving back to China to do some of their premium editions. As far as quality goes, it doesn't bother me one bit. This book looks outstanding to me. I like the hardback. I like the paper. I like the ribs on the spine. I like the box. And so overall, this Bible for me is going to be a big winner. Again, I'm going to put a link to Amazon in the description of this video. You can hop over there and grab one for yourself, and it'd be nice if you did. I should note that Crossway provides these review Bibles for free. All I have to do is give my honest, objective opinion, and that is exactly what I try to do. All right, thanks for checking in. Love you lots. Talk to you later.